Hey, my friends, it's Rick Hagar here coming to you from my home in Las Vegas, Nevada. I appreciate you for taking the time to jump on with me here for a few minutes. I have a great topic that I want to share with you, more of a discussion that I'd like to have. I'd love for you to be engaged as we get into this topic. You know, if there's some things that you agree with, like them, drop the love hearts. If you have a question or if you have a thought that you want to share, always engage, drop it in the comments. And then also, if you found value to this stream and the discussion, please go ahead and share it with others that you might think might find value with it as well. And so I want to jump into this discussion right here. Also, let me know where you might be coming in from. What city, what state, what province. It's always good to go back and see, who is here so I could say hello. And engaging is what it's all about. So here's the question. The question is, could social media be your downfall? If you're building and developing a business, are you relying too much on social media in the sense that it could ultimately destroy your business or be your downfall? We're going to talk a little bit about that. I have some thoughts. I have some ideas that I want to share with you and just some things to consider. And so what I want to do is I want to just, reference last week, as of this live stream last week, we had Facebook that had a pretty major outage. I know that I woke up here in Las Vegas, Nevada in the Southwest. I couldn't do a lot of stuff on Facebook. Also on Instagram, because Instagram is owned by Facebook. I could not like anybody's stuff. I could not comment many times. It would block me from commenting. Sometimes it would get through. Sometimes it wouldn't. I'd have to keep trying. And, most people, if they try to comment on something and it won't go through, it says retry it, they're not going to stay there. So it affected engagement, which could affect your algorithm. And I don't know, about you, but we certainly had in southern Nevada here in the Southwest some issues. I know there were issues worldwide with not just Facebook, but Instagram and the platforms that they own and some of the applications that fit into those social media accounts. If you had issues with your Facebook or your Instagram, drop in the comments that you had issues and what part of the world you're in, just so we know, just for context on this. But a lot of people were up in arms about it. We saw people throwing Facebook posts up there. It was all over Twitter as well. And so it was interesting to see what happens when one of the main platforms that people use basically disappears for a day, and how it affected people. And so I just want to explore that discussion a little bit. A lot of people were up in arms about that. And I just want to share with you, if I could, 3 things to consider with respect to social media and how it applies to your life and your business, and maybe a couple of ideas of what we should look at doing as a collective, as a group of people who want to use social media for various things. So here's 3 things to consider. And again, as I go through this, if you have anything that you'd like to add, any thoughts, drop it in the comments. Any questions, drop it in the comments. Number 1, the first thing I want to point out is that social media is here to stay. It is not going anywhere. It is here to stay. It has become a part of our lives. From a personal standpoint, it enables us to see things that our family and friends are doing, to capture moments with respect to our families or friends and communicate with our families or friends. We can watch video and entertainment and stream through social media. We have conversations through social media. So from a personal standpoint, it's become a part of our lives. Okay? It's not going to go anywhere. From a business standpoint, I remember being involved in direct sales and network marketing back 10, 15, 20 years ago. And it wasn't like it is today. It was much harder to communicate with people. Certainly there were advantages without social media. Social media could be a double-edged sword when it comes to business, but it's much greater than to have it than to not have it. It enables us to communicate with people more quickly and efficiently, to train people, to share information, concepts, ideas, videos, images. And so that is very important for people. I don't think people would ever want to not have it for their business. And then thirdly, just in general, from a world news standpoint, almost all the news comes through social media now. It seems like something in the world happens within literally a minute. It's all over the world that quickly as a result of social media, of people consuming content, sharing content. So my first point is simply this, is it going to be your downfall? We have to recognize it's not going to go anywhere. It's here to stay because we love it. From a personal standpoint, consuming information personally. From a business standpoint, using it as a tool or mechanism to build businesses. And then thirdly, just from a worldly news and communication outlet, social media is here to stay. It's not going to go anywhere. That's my first point. Number two is that it's always evolving. Social media is always evolving. There are always going to be new platforms coming out, different platforms coming out, different types of platforms coming out. Existing platforms are going to be adding new features and new things. I mean, goodness, look at what you've seen Facebook go through just over the last year, 2 years, 3 years, all the different new applications and things that it has to offer. So it's always going to be evolving. There's always going to be new things coming out. There's going to be new features, new concepts coming out. And a lot of times that can lead to errors and issues like what we saw the other day. We don't really know, at least I don't know, why Facebook was down for almost the whole day. Instagram was down for almost the whole day. But when they have to do things, updates, it's very complicated to keep a community of hundreds of millions or even billions of people on a platform like that. So there's going to be things that evolve, and there's going to be errors. There are going to be issues that could affect how you use it personally, how you use it for business. So we have to recognize that. And of course, there's always discussions from a legal standpoint in terms of government agencies looking at social media and trying to find out, what needs to be done or not needs to be done in terms of laws. So do they want to regulate or impose laws on some of these social media companies? We've got one politician running around talking about breaking them all up because Facebook has purchased a number of platforms, and this particular politician wants to break it all up. So there's laws that could affect social media in the future. Think about this in terms of the future. When I say it's always evolving, I mean from a future standpoint, it's going to evolve. There are going to be new platforms. There are going to be applications and things that could create errors and issues. And then what happens if the government sticks their finger in it? We know that the government, everything they pretty much put their fingers in, they ruin or they damage or they hurt. So what happens if they decide that they want to begin to control social media a little bit more? How's that going to affect you personally? And how's that going to affect your ability to build and develop a business using social media as your main tool? Because let's face it, a lot of us have begun to use and rely on social media as our main outlet to build our business. And so if you have come to rely on social media to a very large degree with respect to your business, how's that going to affect you if platforms change or if features change? If you use a certain feature right now, well, what if that goes away or becomes more cumbersome? What if the government steps in and changes things in a way where you can't operate the way you're operating right now? These are things we have to think about if we want to be effective and successful going forward into the future. And so that's the second thing. It's always evolving. Now, here's the third thing. I'm going to give you some thoughts. And this is kind of how I'm going to proceed with everything. There's three things, and the third thing is to dilute your risk. It's to dilute your risk. If you don't do these things and you just kind of stay where you are, you run the risk that some of these things that we've talked about could disrupt or impact negatively how you use social media. So we have to be thinking about that. When we become dependent upon something so much, what happens if what we're dependent upon changes radically and we don't have the same ability or access as we did prior? It could hurt businesses. Business could be destroyed as a result of it. So here's three things that I think you can look at to dilute your risk a little bit. The first one here is simply this. It's have more than one platform that you're working off of. Now, there's so many different social media platforms, and if you're in direct sales or network marketing, we tend to gravitate toward one or two or three. But try to diversify your platform a little bit. Now, if you create content for Facebook and you put your content out on Facebook, you could put the same content out on another platform, a second or a third platform. So you don't have to create all this new content. You're diluting your risk by having your business across more than one platform. Whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, it could be YouTube, it could be Twitter. Although I don't really use Twitter that much, if at all. So how can you get across more than one platform? This way, if you have one platform that goes down, or if there's an issue with one, then you at least have your other one where you don't lose your contacts. I mean, God forbid there's a security breach or something where you could lose a lot of your contacts. So having access or using more than one platform could be an answer where you can diversify your risk a little bit. But you got to be careful, because here's the thing. some companies like Facebook own more than one platform. So we saw this with the outage last week, is not only was Facebook having a lot of issues, but because they own Instagram, Instagram was having issues as well because they're interlinked to some degree. Okay? If there's a server issue with one, it's liable to affect others in some cases. So build more than one platform. That can help you to dilute your risk to some degree. Here's another thing, and this is a big one, folks. This is a real big one, is you should really focus on building an email list, an address book / email list of all of the people that you want to connect with and be connected to. If you've got friends on Facebook, I would encourage you to build up and connect with everybody via email as well. Not for the purpose of pitching and spamming or anything like that, but just so that you have another way to communicate with people. For me, being involved in network marketing or direct sales, look, if you're not in the company that I'm in, that's okay. We're still friends, right? We're still friends. We're still connections. We're still acquaintances. I want you to have my contact information just as I'd like to have your contact information. It's safe to have contact information in your address book so that if something happens, God forbid, with a social media platform, at least your address book, you own it. Your email list, you own it, correct? So what you want to do is try to work on expanding your contacts through your email database. Now, there's a lot of great programs and address books and things that you can use. If you have one that you love, drop it in the comments, because the people watching this live or here on the replay, they might see that and you may be able to share with them something that's helped you. I have one that I love, and I've gone through 100 of them, 1,000 of them maybe. I have one that I love. If you are interested in the one that I use, send me a private message and I will let you know what I use. I'm not going to pitch it here on this stream because I don't know that that would be appropriate, but I'm happy to share the details of it with you. It's a great program, but you should have some type of an address book where if people are important to you and you want to stay connected to them, that you gather up a name, a phone, an email address, so that you have it. In the event that something does happen with social media, you can communicate through the email medium. Now, I realize some people say, well, email isn't as effective now as it used to be because we're all using Messenger. That's quite the point. If something happens with these Messenger type programs, you still have the email backup. And by the way, lots of people, gazillions of people still read their emails on a daily basis. It's still very effective, although it may not be used as much as texting or messaging. You want to have people's information so that you can shoot them a text or you can shoot them an email. I like to send out, holiday expressions and holiday greetings and birthday things and stuff like that. So I'd love to connect with you, give you my contact information and get yours for that purpose, if just for that purpose alone. It doesn't have to be for you to pitch someone or them to pitch you. So build an email list. That way you own that information. And even if a platform happens to go sideways or you lose it, you still have all of your contacts and friends that you can connect with on that platform. And that way you own it. Another thing here, this is underneath dilute your risk, is stay in touch with people by phone. One of the things that's so awesome is that I like to reach out to people from time to time. If someone is on Facebook and maybe I haven't talked with them in a month or 2 months, I love to connect with them, even if it's just for 5 minutes, to just shoot the breeze and see how they're doing and just see what's going on in their life. It's all about relationships. You got to remember, everything is about relationships. And sometimes you want to be more than just a Facebook friend or more than just an Instagram friend. So it's good to contact people outside of social media just to say hello once in a while. I truly believe there's nothing like actually talking to someone. And if they're in your local city, if they're a contact or a friend, whatever, get together with them once in a while. Have coffee with people, have breakfast with people, have lunch, have dinner. Get together to just hang out for a half hour. Remember, relationships are the key to the whole thing. One of the things I love about being in Las Vegas is everybody's always coming through. And so a lot of times I connect with people. I meet them on social media. We have great discussions on social media. The relationship warms up. We get on the phone. We have a good conversation. And then, sooner or later, they're passing through Vegas. Or maybe I'm passing through their city. And we get together. We have coffee or we have lunch or we have breakfast. That's how you build relationships. And for me, that's the fun part of what we do. It's hanging out with people. It's building more quality relationships with friends. And I think that is very important to do outside of social media. Social media is important, but do it outside of social media as well. And so to dilute your risk, these are just a few things that you can do if for some reason a platform has a tendency to go sideways or go down, you still have other options because you've recognized what could potentially go wrong. And so relationships are absolutely the key. So here's the question that I posed at the very beginning of this live stream. Could social media be your downfall? Well, if you put 100% of your eggs in one basket and then something happens to that platform, yeah, it could disrupt your business. It could destroy your business. It could leave you in a position where you're scrambling. But if you understand the concept of social media, that it is truly evolving and that we should seek to build relationships and connect with people, not just on social media, but off of social media, then you're going to put yourself in a position where it's not going to affect you if something happens. It might be irritating, but you have other options. Whereas if you go all in one spot, you might lose those options someday at some point for some reason. And that's basically my point. And so I hope I've been able to share this with you. If you have some thoughts or ideas, drop them in the comments. I want to engage. I'd love to see what your thoughts on this subject are. And what I do want to put up on the screen here is my little connection thing. If you want to connect with me on some of the other platforms that I'm on, obviously you see facebook.com/rick.hagar, or I'm on Instagram at instagram.com/rickhagar. I'm on YouTube, putting a YouTube channel together, youtube.com/Rick Hagar, and I am on linkedin.com/in/Rick Hagar as well. And I'm going to put a link in the comments where if you want to connect with me and trade contact information via email, that we can go ahead and we can do that. You can put my information in your address book, and I'll put your information in my address book. And that way we can be real friends outside of social media as well. And it's much appreciated with respect to that. And so, listen, I appreciate you for taking some time. I hope I've been able to share some things that might cause you to ask a few questions, be a little bit better prepared in this area. I know I'm certainly working on it. I appreciate you for taking the time to jump on. This is Rick Hagar here in Las Vegas, signing out, everyone. Talk to you again real soon. Bye for now.